Maddie, and it's playtime. What's your favourite toy to play with?
I like this drum. I also love playing with spinning tops. Whee! And toys we can look into.
Do you know what it's called? It's a kaleidoscope. We look into a kaleidoscope, and when we turn it, we see beautiful changing patterns. But how does a kaleidoscope make so many different patterns? Do you know how a kaleidoscope works? Let's find out.
How does it work?
Kaleidoscope.
All kaleidoscopes work in the same way. They're made of two tubes, a long tube and a short tube. Can you hear the sound as I turn the short tube?
And look, each time I turn the short tube, the pattern inside changes.
But what's inside the short tube that's making those patterns? Let's take a closer look. You must never take apart a kaleidoscope or any other toy without a grown-up. But I've got all the pieces of a kaleidoscope laid out in front of me so I can show you what's inside one. At the bottom of the short tube is a piece of material that lets light through. And inside the short tube are pieces of colourful paper. And it's the paper that we see when we look through the kaleidoscope.
But when we look inside the kaleidoscope, it doesn't look like bits of paper, does it? That's because of what's inside the long tube.
It's a set of mirrors. Here I am. Hello. How many mirrors are there? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3. Do you know what the shape is? Yeah, that's right. It's a triangle. And because this triangle is long and is a 3D shape, we call it a triangular prism. And it's a triangular prism that's made of mirrors that makes the patterns we see inside the kaleidoscope. But to find out how that works, I think we need to take an even closer look.
Inside a kaleidoscope is a triangular prism made of mirrors. When light hits a mirror, it reflects back. Because a triangular prism has 3 mirrors, the light reflects off one mirror, then another, making lots and lots of reflections. So when light hits the coloured paper at the bottom of a kaleidoscope, it's reflected back lots and lots of times. Each time we turn the kaleidoscope, the coloured paper moves, changing the reflection and the patterns inside. Wasn't that interesting? The patterns we see inside the kaleidoscope are being made by the mirrors.
I've got 2 mirrors here,
And to show you how the reflections work,
I'm going to join them together at an angle.
here the angle is where the 2 mirrors meet. And these mirrors work the same way as the mirrors inside the kaleidoscope.
I've also got an apple.
When the apple is in front of the mirrors, can you see it looks like there are now 3 apples?
There's 1 apple on the table, 1 reflection here, and another here. But watch what happens if I make the angle of the mirrors smaller.
Now, there's 5 apples.
And if I make the angle smaller still,
We can see even more apples. The apple is being reflected again and again in the mirrors.
it's just like the kaleidoscope and the pieces of colourful paper. How fun's that? I'm going to put the eyepiece of the kaleidoscope against the lens of my special camera. And I'm going to put different things inside the short tube of the kaleidoscope, and you have to guess what you think they might be. Okay, are you ready?
This pattern is being made by something fluffy.
What do you think it is?
I'll give you a clue. Sheep have lots of it.
That's right, it's wool. Now, for the next one. It looks like there are pieces of wood. I'll give you a clue. You draw with it.
That's right, it's pencil shavings.
All right, here's the last one.
green. But what could it be?
This one looks like a jungle.
And what do jungles have lots and lots of? That's right, leaves.
That was so much fun. I loved finding out how a kaleidoscope works. What was your favourite part?
Do you remember what shape we call the mirrors inside the kaleidoscope? That's right, we call it a triangular prism. Did you hear the sound the kaleidoscope made as I turned it? And did you see all the beautiful patterns when we played my kaleidoscope game?
When you look into a kaleidoscope, you see lots of beautiful patterns. Can you think of anything else that has something special inside?
How about an envelope?
Envelopes are perfect for carrying cards and letters. But do you know how an envelope is made? So we can put things inside them, but make sure they don't fall out. Let's find out.
How is it made?
Envelope.
To find out how envelopes are made, I've come here to an envelope factory.
Envelopes come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes. There are big envelopes, like this one, and it would be great for big sheets of paper. Then there are colourful envelopes. This would be good for birthdays or greetings cards. But today, the factory are making white envelopes with holes in the front called windows.
This is so you can see who the letter is addressed to without opening it up.
It's a bit like a window you might have on a house, only it's really, really tiny. Today, the factory will make 10 million envelopes just like this. But how do they make so many so quickly? Let's find out.
It all happens here at the envelope machine, and it's absolutely huge. And every part of the envelope is made here. Can you see all the paper being pulled along the envelope machine? That's what's used to make the envelopes. But so the machine can keep running, it's really important it never runs out of paper, even for a few seconds. And it's the job of this machine, the paper splicer, to make sure the envelope machine has enough paper. Can you see that the first reel of paper is spinning round and round, feeding paper into the envelope machine? But the second reel is still. That's because the second reel is only needed when the first reel is running out. Can you hear that sound? That means the first reel of paper is nearly running out, so the splicer is switching to the second reel. And it's Dave's job to stick the ends of the two reels together. The paper splicer feeds paper into the envelope machine, but it's moving really, really fast. Dave is going to stop the machine so we can take a closer look safely. I put one of my special cameras on a pole so we can see inside the machine. So every window is exactly the same shape and size. The envelope machine has a cutting tool called a foil. And we can see it just here. Do you know what shape that is? That's right, it's a rectangle. The paper is pulled through the machine and the foil stamps out all of the windows. But now it needs to be covered to protect the letter inside. So the machine uses this material. It's called film. And look, it's see-through. When the material is see-through, we say that it's transparent. Shall we see it working? Wow, look at how quickly the paper is moving across the rollers. And as it moves through, the windows are cut out. Can you see some gloopy glue is rolling over the rollers. As the paper rolls through the rollers, it puts a thin layer of glue onto the transparent film. And they're stuck into the window holes.
So, now we have a window with film in it, but it doesn't look much like an envelope, does it? It's still just one long sheet of paper.
So the paper needs to be cut.
And that happens here at the sever section. Inside, a blade chops the paper into sheets like this, called blanks. Now we can see it's starting to take shape.
And can you see the wiggly lines down the side of the envelope? They're called flaps.
The flap's really important because it will stop anything inside the envelope from falling out. The next step happens here at the folding section, where the blanks are folded in half to make an envelope.
The flaps on the sides of the envelope are then glued together so the envelope doesn't fall apart. But there's still a hole at the top of the envelope with a flap.
The envelopes are all stacked up and they pass through some rollers. And the roller has a special gum on it.
This wet, sticky gum is the same gum that holds the sides of the envelope together. But the top flap needs to stay open so we can put letters inside.
So what do you think we need to do? That's right, we need to dry them out.
The envelopes go through a heater to dry the gum on the top flap. This means it won't stick down until it's been made wet again.
Finally, the envelopes are counted, ready to be packaged up. And here you have a finished envelope, ready to send a letter with. Finding out how envelopes are made has been really interesting. What was your favourite part?
Do you remember what we call a material that is see-through? That's right, it's called transparent. Did you hear the sound the splicer made when it was ready for the reels to be swapped over? And did you see the foil that cuts out the windows in the envelopes on my special camera on a pole? So the next time you post a birthday card or a letter, you'll know how the envelope it's in was made. And when you look through a kaleidoscope, you'll know how the mirrors inside work to make the different patterns. I'll see you next time. Hello, I'm Maddie, and today I'm going for a trip into town. When we're out and about in busy places, we see lots of signs, and they give us information. Look, here's one. This sign tells us which direction to go in. That sign tells us there's a museum nearby. It looks like the letter M with a hat on. And then there are brightly coloured signs like this one. It's glowing really brightly, isn't it? It's called a neon light, and they glow to catch our attention. But do you know how the glass is made into different shapes? And how does a neon sign glow? Do you know how a neon sign's made? Let's find out. How is it made?
Neon sign.
To find out how a neon light is made, I've come here to a neon light workshop. Neon signs come in lots of different shapes and sizes. There are some that spell words, and some in the shape of animals, like this pink flamingo. Look at these dancing neon lights on the ceiling. Woo! To make neon signs, the workshop uses these glass tubes, and there are lots of them. They come in lots of colours. This one's blue, orange, yellow, and they're different widths, like this purple one that's a bit thicker. And that's because different glass tubes make different types of sign. Today, the workshop are using this glass tube, but it's really long and straight. I wonder what shape they're making today. Let's find out. Before the neon sign can be made, Sam designs it on a computer. Today, we're making a blue arrow. Once it's been designed, it's printed out.
But how does an arrow printed on a piece of paper become a neon sign made of glass? Let's see what happens next. This is Tony, and he places the long glass tube on the printout of the arrow, and he marks it with a black crayon.
Can you see the curves on the printed out arrow? To make the tube curved, Tony needs to heat up the glass with a big flame.
You must never go near or touch a flame, but Tony is specially trained to use the flame safely so he can heat the glass so it will bend.
To make the glass bendy, Tony uses a special flame called a bench lamp, and as the tube heats up, the glass becomes softer and it bends.
It's a good sound.
Look, now Tony's blowing air into the glass tube. That's to make sure the tube keeps its tube shape whilst it's being bent.
Wow! But now our arrow needs long curves. And for that, we need a bigger flame. So we use this. It's called a ribbon lamp. But to find out how heat helps to bend the glass, I think we should use one of my special cameras. This is a thermal imaging camera, and it shows us how hot or cold things are. So let's switch it on and see what happens. At the moment, the glass tube is a purple colour, which means it's quite cool. But what do you think will happen when Tony puts it in the ribbon flame? Wow. As soon as Tony put the glass in the flame, it turned white. That means it's really, really hot.
The flame that heats up the glass is so hot it can reach 650 degrees Celsius. That's the same as lava coming out of a volcano.
Tony's bending the glass carefully using his hands. And you can see that the ends that he's holding are cooler because they're still purple. We're nearly there. The glass arrow is looking fantastic. And next it's brought here to the pumping station where gas is pumped into the glass tubes so the neon sign will glow. But to connect the arrow to the gas, we have to melt a little bit more glass.
And the gas that this lamp uses is called argon.
It's the argon that will make the neon sign glow brightly. But to do that, we also need electricity.
In neon lights, electricity moves through the tube between these. They're called electrodes. They're fitted onto both ends of the arrow. Inside the neon light, electricity mixes with the argon gas inside the tube. Small particles called electrons then start moving around, which makes a blue light.
Let's see what happens when Sam switches the electricity on. Wow! It's glowing bright blue. That's because the electricity gives the argon gas energy to move around and make light. And if it's switched off again, the electricity doesn't give the argon energy, so it stops making light. Back on again. There you go. How interesting was that?
But before the sign is ready, it needs to be put inside a clear plastic box to make it nice and safe.
And there you have it, a blue neon sign in the shape of an arrow. Doesn't it look brilliant? I loved finding out how neon signs are made. What was your favourite part?
Do you remember the name of the gas that's used to make a neon light glow blue? That's right, it's argon gas. Did you hear the sound the bench lamp made when it was heating up the glass?
It's a good sound.
And did you see all the different colours on my special camera when the glass tube was being heated up? White means really hot, and purple is colder.
Sometimes we might find signs that light up above a doorway, and there are other signs, like this one. It tells wheelchair users to push the button to open a door. We use lots of different types of doors, depending on how big a building is and what needs to go through it. This door is enormous. This is another type of door. It's called a sliding door because it slides.
And this door is called a revolving door.
That was great. It's called a revolving door because it revolves. It turns round and round. But do you know how a revolving door works? Let's find out.
How does it work?
Revolving door.
To find out how revolving doors work, I've come here to a door workshop.
Revolving doors are great because they let more than one person in and out at the same time.
You must never play in revolving doors, but I've got special permission to look closely at this one to show you how it works. The outside of a revolving door is called the drum wall. And can you see that the drum wall is curved? It's a bit like the shape of a drum you might play. Inside, there are 3 panels made of glass called wings. 1, 2, 3. And they're made of glass so that anybody going through the door can see where they're going and will be able to spot anyone coming from the other side. Hello! The drum wall has 2 gaps in it. One on this side so people can go into the door, and one on this side so people can walk out.
But how does the revolving door turn?
The wings are fixed together in the middle to make the centre axle. And the centre axle and the wings together are called a carousel, because just like a carousel at a fair, they turn it round and round. This is a manual revolving door, which means we have to push the wings if we want to go through. But there are other types too. This is an automatic revolving door. Can you see it's moving all by itself without anyone pushing it? But how does an automatic revolving door turn round and round all by itself without being pushed? To find out, I think we need to take a closer look.
At the top of the revolving door is a sensor, which gives out an infrared beam of light. When we walk towards it, the infrared light is broken by our body. This sends a signal to a computer, which sends a signal to 2 motors, switching them on. The motors make the wheels turn and they move along a circular track. This pulls the carousel round and the doors turn round with it. The revolving door turns 2 times and then stops when we reach the other side.
That was really interesting, wasn't it? This is Matt, and Matt is a revolving door engineer. And he's taken the top panels off the door and is going to bring it to a stop so we can take a closer look with one of my special cameras. Thanks. The revolving door has 2 motors at the top, and I can see one of them just here. Wow, look at that. And the other one is on this side, all the way up there. And around the top of the revolving door, we have the track. Can you see it? It goes all the way around, and there's one of the wheels. But to see all of these parts moving for ourselves, Matt's given me special permission to use some more of my special cameras. Look, I'm getting closer to the revolving door.
But when will the sensor see me?
Oh. Look, I broke the infrared beam coming from the sensor, and it sent a message to the computer which turned the 2 motors on.
And now the wheels are moving along the track, making the doors turn. Can you hear them turning? This revolving door has a special button on it which slows the doors down for wheelchair users and pushchairs so they can go in and out safely.
It moved a lot slower, didn't it? Isn't that great?
The revolving door will turn around 2 times, and if nobody else breaks the infrared beam coming from the sensor, then the motors will switch off and the revolving doors will come to a stop. How brilliant is that? I loved finding out how revolving doors work. What was your favourite bit? Can you remember the name of the glass panels that rotate? That's right, they're called wings. Did you hear the sound the wheels made when the revolving door turned? And did you see the red light turn on my special camera when I walked up to the revolving door? So the next time you use a revolving door to get in or out of a building, you'll know how it works. And the next time you see a neon sign, you'll know how the glass was bent and how the gas inside makes it glow. I'll see you next time. Hello, I'm Maddie, and today I'm playing outside. What kind of games do you like to play outside? I like to play bat and ball. Catch! And I love coming to the playground and going down the slide. Whee! And having a go on the climbing frame. There are small things to climb on like this. And big climbing walls like this one at the climbing centre. At this climbing centre, there are lots of things to help us climb safely. Holds to hold on to, ropes to help us stay safe. But do you know how a climbing wall works? Let's find out. How does it work?
Climbing wall.
There are 72 different climbing walls here. That's a lot of walls. There are very high walls. And walls you can climb underneath. A climbing wall is great because it means I can practice climbing safely. This is Tom, and Tom's a climbing instructor. It's his job to help me stay safe on the wall and make sure I'm wearing the right special safety equipment. We need special climbing shoes and a safety harness. But Tom's told me I don't need to wear a helmet because we're using this to help me climb. It's called an auto belay. It has a hard case and it's attached securely to the top of a climbing wall. And inside, there's a really, really long rope called webbing. I'm going to be using a belay that's all the way up there. Tom is going to attach the webbing to my harness. Did you hear that snap sound? That means I'm safely attached. Okay, shall we have a go? As I climb, the webbing winds into the case. Let's see what happens when I want to come down. The webbing comes out of the belay and lowers me down. I made it. To find out how a belay works, I think we should take a closer look. When we climb a climbing wall, the long webbing winds up inside the auto belay at the top. When we stop climbing, the webbing stops winding up. When we fall or want to come down the wall, the weight of our body pulls on the webbing, which makes the spool go round the opposite way, unwinding the webbing. Inside the belay are magnets and a rotor made of aluminium metal. Aluminium is not magnetic. So as the rotor turns, it fights against the magnetic field, making the spool slow down. So we come down the wall slowly and safely. That was really clever, wasn't it? Can you see all of these colourful holds dotted over the wall? They're called holds because you hold on to them when you're on the climbing wall, and they're hard and a little bit rough so you can get a good grip. The holds come in different colours because they help us to climb the wall in different ways. They're called routes. Can you see there's a white route, a red route, and a green route? So you can choose which route of holds you want to try and climb.
Before I go up again, I'm going to put one of my special cameras on my head so you can see what I see. There we go. I've also put a special camera at the top of the wall. This time I'm going to try the red route, which means I'm looking for the red holes. Can you see the red holes? There they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's the first one. Here we go. I'm using my hand for the first one. And look, now I'm using my foot. I think that's high enough for now. Time to come down. That was amazing. I'm going to go up the climbing wall again, but this time I'm going to make up my own route using different colour holds. Let's climb. Look at all those different colour holds. They're different shapes too. Woohoo! Now let's see what happens when I want to get down. The magnetic field inside the belay is slowing down the aluminium rotor, so the webbing can bring me back safely to the floor. Made it! That was so much fun. What was your favourite part about finding out how a climbing wall works?
Do you remember the name for the equipment that helps me come safely up and down the wall? That's right, it's called an auto belay. Did you hear the sound the clip made as it attached onto my harness? And did you see the view from my head as I climbed the climbing wall? I went all the way to the top.
I've loved trying all the different routes on the climbing wall and learning about belays and holds. What else do they look like to you? They remind me of modelling clay. I love modelling clay. It's soft and stretchy and you can squish it into loads of different shapes. And the great thing about it is that you can use it over and over again. But do you know how modelling clay is made? Let's find out.
How is it made?
Modelling clay.
To find out how modelling clay is made, I've come here to a modelling clay factory. This factory make 920 kilograms of modelling clay every single day. That's the same weight as a horse. Here, they make modelling clay in lots of different colours. Today, they're making bright red modelling clay. Let's see how. To make modelling clay, we need these ingredients. Our main ingredient is starch. That's this white powder. Starch comes from plants, and when it's mixed with a lot of water, it will help our modelling clay become nice and thick.
Another plant material, cellulose, helps stick our modelling clay together, and salt, which acts as a preservative.
And a preservative will keep the modelling clay fresh and stop any bacteria from growing.
Vegetable oil helps the modelling clay from drying out and going hard.
And then to give the clay its colour, we use this red powder. It's called pigment. So, we've got our ingredients. Now we need to know how to make it. This is Billy, and it's his job to weigh out all of the ingredients to make the modelling clay.
But how do all these ingredients turn into squidgy modelling clay? We need to mix them up.
And for that, we need a giant mixing pot. Inside, there are 2 long metal bars, and these spin round and round. And there are some paddles attached to them, and these make sure that everything gets mixed properly. But it will take around 40 minutes to make the modelling clay, and that's quite a long time. So I think we should film this with one of my special cameras. I'm going to use my special camera to film a time-lapse. That means we can film the mixing over a long time, but when we watch it back, it will happen quickly. Okay, all set? And we're ready for the ingredients.
First, the yellow vegetable oil goes in. Then the red pigment. see how the oil is changing colour? It's turned red. Next, the dry ingredients get added. Starch, salt, and then cellulose. Before the paddles mix everything together.
Oh, look at that! The clay mixture is getting really thick. Inside the mixture are lots of tiny starch granules. And when it's been mixed a lot, those starch granules start to break down. This means they can take on lots of water, so they swell up and become firmer, and that's why the clay is getting firmer. It looks a lot more like squidgy modelling clay now, doesn't it? Now the modelling clay is thick, Billy's going to turn off the rotating paddles so we can take the clay out of the mixing pot. Billy's using his hands to squash the modelling clay into this box. What a fun job!
But how does it stay squashy enough so you can keep playing with it over and over again?
Well, it's all down to the vegetable oil and the water. When a solid like clay holds a liquid like vegetable oil or water, we call it moisture. And it's the moisture inside the clay that keeps it soft.
When the modelling clay is soft, we say it's malleable. But it only stays that way if we keep it in a tub with the lid on, so the outside air can't get in. We call this airtight.
This bit of modelling clay has been left out in the air overnight. Oh no! It started to go hard, and when I tried to mould it, it just cracks. It's dried out.
When modelling clay is left out, air around it warms up the water inside the modelling clay and turns it into a gas. This is called evaporation. The gas leaves the modelling clay, which makes it dry.
Our finished modelling clay is ready to be packaged. But first, it has to get squashed into the right shape. And that happens here at the extruder. The clay goes in the top and comes out the bottom through this pipe. Let's see it in action. Wow, here it comes. It looks like a long sausage, doesn't it? But now it's got to get cut to the right size. Can you hear that noise? That is the paddle, spinning round, and it acts like a blade, chopping the modelling clay to the right length. The clay has been wrapped in a thin layer of plastic, but it's quite loose, so it goes through the oven, and the heat shrinks the plastic tight to the clay, and this makes it airtight, so that none of the moisture can get out of the clay, so it stays soft and squishy. There you go, some finished modelling clay. What shall we make?
It's going to be an insect with a green head and blue spots.
It's a colourful ladybird. I had so much fun finding out how modelling clay is made. What was your favourite part?
Do you remember what we call a tub when the lid is fastened on top? That's right, it's airtight. Do you remember the sound the paddle made as it cut the modelling clay? And did you see on my special time-lapse camera when the modelling clay went from gloopy to thick?
So the next time you play with modelling clay, you'll know how it was made. And if you visit a climbing wall, you'll know how the belay works to help us get up and down safely. Right, I think it's time for me to have another go. I'll see you next time.